After 3 years of wanting to write the US nursing exams, I am finally a US nurse. Yes, I mean 3 good years. This video is going to be long. It's just going to be a very long video. So stay tuned to the end because the first part of this video is going to be my journey. The second part is going to be the resources I used for the exams. The third part is going to be the tips you need to know after these 3 years, the things I learned and what I want to share with you. The fourth part is what you actually want to stay tuned for, especially if you're a Ghanaian midwife, psychiatric nurse, adult nurse, pediatric nurse, or anyone who just seemed not deemed eligible by TGFNS now through merits standards. And if you see me looking down, it's just me using my pointers so I don't forget what I'm saying because my mind can just roll at any time. So first, let's start from 2022. Yes, that's when I actually started my journey. 2022 June, I got exposed to this whole nursing thing, wanting to work in the US as a nurse in 2022 by Nurse Akosia. Every OG or every researcher who wanted to actually come to the US to work as a nurse should know Nurse Akosia because she was the first person that actually introduced me to this process. All the others are just newbies. Back then, you really will not find any resources, especially if you're a midwife. You will know a Ghanaian midwife. You know, with the Nigerian midwife, it's different. It's together. Ghana is two different things at the same time. She was the one who made me believe that it is possible to write this exam. I emailed her when I came across her YouTube channel. She told me what I needed to do. At that time, 2022, I had already started my bachelor's in midwifery. I actually went to Nursing and Midwifery Training College, ATBA, for my associate's degree. We all know it as diploma, but here it's just an associate's degree. And I was trying to do a bachelor's in nursing. They said no, I would have to do 3 years of nursing rights licensure before I get to have the nursing license. I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. If you haven't picked anything on my channel, you should know that I'm such stress-free babe. I do not want stress. I'm just going to do my bachelor's in midwifery. Started my bachelor's in midwifery 2022 of January. And I met Nurse Akosia around June 2022. And so she introduced me to the organization that does evaluation for midwives. And in that same June of 2022, I registered with the organization. No, I just created an account with them and I started application, but I didn't finish the application. I was just trying to see how it is. So I just took time, did my research again, and I found a Nigerian blog that explicitly wrote all the steps she used to register with Texas Board of Nursing, but she used CGFNS. So everywhere I see CGFNS, I just changed it to ERES. I chose Texas Board of Nursing as my home state. I figured out how much I need for both Texas Board of Nursing and also for ERES. Texas Board of Nursing back then was $75 and ERES was $485. So in November of the same 2022, I paid for the ERES, that's ERES, and I paid for Texas Board of Nursing. Texas Board of Nursing actually required me to write a jurisprudence exam, which is actually an open book, and a background check. I did those two things because I had the money. What I didn't know that brought everything down and made this whole process long was after paying the ERES and going to the nursing body, Nursing and Midwifery Council, they hit me with the shock of my life. I needed clearance before they could send my document to ERES. So I quickly went to Ministry of Health to buy my clearance, and that is where I was hit by another shocker. They were not selling any clearance by then. They had stopped all the clearance they had. So I thought it was just maybe a 1 month thing. December, nothing. January, nothing. And that is where I started getting anxious because Texas Board of Nursing will give you just 1 year to do everything and write the exams. If you don't write the exams before that 1 year, everything goes down the drain. You'd have to start the process again, pay their registration again, do the background check again, especially if it's more than 6 months, write the jurisprudence exams again. I'm not sure it has changed, but I was freaking out. February, nothing. They were still not selling the clearance. That is how eventually in March, I became very aggressive. I was talking to all my friends who already bought their clearance and they were not ready to leave the country or they didn't have any plans to use the clearance any moment soon. I got one friend who sold his clearance to me for 100 cedis. After getting the clearance in March and filling it, you know how tedious it is to fill that clearance. You have to fill it, you have to take it to your school, workplace, and someone who didn't school in Accra, I schooled in Kwewu. You can imagine I had to do FedEx in and out. After everything, doing all these things, when my clearance got to Ministry of Health, which was in May, they hit me with another shocker. They've changed their head and their head is changing the clearance. So anyone who has the old clearance would have to go through notarization. So if you want it quickly, you have to get a new clearance. Everything was just so crazy for me. Everything was dragging around. Fortunately, the Lord sent me someone at Ministry of Health to just be giving me updates on everything. In July, still my clearance has not been signed. That is when the same person called and told me, Jennifer, I can only advise you to buy the new clearance form because if you're going to wait for the old clearance to be signed, it's going to be forever. Yeah, that was the sad news. I had to buy a new clearance form in July of 2023. Go through that whole round again. Sign at my workplace, take it to Kwewu, bring it back, take it to MOH. It was one of the dreadful and frustrating periods of my life because I was schooling at that time. It took them 1 month, August, sent it to NMC. When I got the message that my clearance had been sent to NMC, I went to NMC to submit the ERES form there. You already know NMC will take 3 months to send your documents. It's something they always tell you. In January of 2024, that is when I got a message from NMC telling me that they've sent my documents to ERES. ERES also sent me an email saying they've received my documents. But then I was bitten, I was drained. I couldn't anymore. And I knew 2024, I actually wanted to concentrate on doing my master's program because I completed school December of 2023. But one thing about my school, if you already know, Wisconsin International, you complete school in December, you get your transcript 3 months later, and you graduate 1 year later. It's absurd, but that's what I went through. My Texas Board of Nursing had expired in November. When all this was going on, I emailed Texas Board of Nursing to extend for me. Look at me, who am I to tell Texas Board of Nursing that they should change their policy for me? That's the vim I have. That's the nonsense vim I have. They told me no, they can't change for me. Everything expired. I had to start over again. I decided not to use Texas Board of Nursing because in 2024 I knew I was not ready to write the exams. I knew I was not ready to go through that whole process because I was concentrating on school. I didn't want to have a divided attention both for finances and mentally. So I told ERES in January that can I change my state board to Illinois. Also with ERES, my process had also expired with them. I had to pay again. In January of 2023, I registered for Pearson VUE because I thought I was going to write the exams in 2023, right? I didn't write the exam. So January of 2024, Pearson VUE also expired. And all that money wasted, spent. When I calculated it, I think I wasted like $1,000+ on that whole process, which actually got wasted. I got my transcripts in March of 2024 from my bachelor's program, but I didn't send it because when I told ERES I had my transcript, they said they wanted my certificate as well. And certificate was going to be ready in November. I put that on hold, concentrated on school, application and all that. When I got my certificates in November of 2024, I sent the certificate, transcripts and everything to ERES. And I just G my eyes. I ignored, I didn't even think about it. So in January, when I came to America, 31st of January, I received an email from ERES telling me my documents or evaluation is ready, my report is ready, they've sent it to Illinois. And I was like, I even forgot about this. So I quickly registered with Illinois Board of Nursing in February 2nd. But I just go to America. I'm not settling in. It's not now that I'm coming to go through. There's a plane flying. I'm just trying to settle down. I put it on hold after doing my registration. The reason why I chose Illinois is because they give you 3 years instead of 1 year like Texas. And Illinois is one of the chillest states. March, I started doing my background check because that's the only thing Illinois demanded. So I started a background check slowly. I didn't rush into it. Eventually, I was done with the background check in April because it's a back and forth thing. April, I registered with Pearson VUE. And I think the day I registered with Pearson VUE, the next day I got my ATT. I didn't study until June of 2025 because in April, I was running up my first semester. I didn't have time to study. My first semester ended in May. I think I was in the middle of May. I slept. I was relaxing myself to prepare myself for the studies. So I didn't study at all in May. I started officially studying in June. 1st of June, I went all in. At the same time, I was working on campus. It was very hectic. I wasn't seeing top. If I do ACHA, I'm failing. Eventually, in August, 12th of August, I decided to stop going to work. I cancelled all my shifts and I logged in 6 weeks to my exam because in August, I actually selected a date for my exams. And prior to that, I was thinking, Lord, when should I select my dates? There was one time I was listening to Oyedepo on live stream and he was talking about kingdom investment. He mentioned that if you can't go for the evangelism, you can as well contribute to transport, on how to transport the evangelists, people who are going out to win souls and also the souls that are coming to church for transport. I decided to give out some money. I sent my mom money to take out the money, put in an envelope and write what I actually wanted her to write. Eventually, first got 22nd of August. It was too close. It was 2 or 3 days before school resumed, but I was not ready. I saw another day, 10th of September and 15th of September. I didn't want to go that far to 15. I just wanted to get over it quickly as possible. So I selected the 10th of September. It didn't even click to me until I was done with the exams. That's when something like just dawned on me and be like, do you know the money you sent was equivalent of 10 CDs, which represent 10th of September. But yeah, September 10th, I went in. The center was 49 minutes away from my house. I took an Uber. I went there. I wrote the exams. I had to wait 2 days for the results. When I came out of the exams, I was thinking, what did I do? I didn't know what I did. The results came and it showed I passed. I was scared because the exams felt so easy to me. I kept doubting myself. You know, on TikTok, people will tell you if the exams are so easy, that means you're not doing well or something. So that's what I was thinking. And in the process of me writing the exams, I was like, why are these questions so easy? And something told me, didn't you pray that the questions will be tailored to your strengths? The whole time I was studying, one thing I kept telling God was, Lord, tailor the questions to my strength. This thing was told to me by a friend I met on Telegram. I have never seen her. She works in Kumasi. She kept giving me encouragement. I've been speaking to her like in a whole year. When she went to write her exam, she said that's what she told God. And she got the most basic questions she could get, the most fundamental nursing questions. And that's also what I got. I got the basic questions I could ever get. It was so basic and fundamental to the point that I was like, is this for real? Now let's talk about what I used to study. I spoke to 2 Canadian friends who were using NCLEX. I've never heard about it before, but they introduced me to NCLEX. I didn't use it. I didn't even look it up. This is what I used that helped. The first material I used is Sanders. I would say if you are new to US nursing knowledge, the best is Sanders or maybe Kaplan, whatever, but it's something to give you content. My choice is Sanders. I love Sanders. It's a heavy loaded book, but I was able to summarize this book in 2023 when I thought I was going to write the exams. I summarized this book into this. If you see this book, I don't know, you can see I have summarized this Sanders book. So this is actually what I studied. This is the context of my Sanders. That's how I study. When I read Sanders, whatever my guide tells me this is important, I pick it up and I write it. When I was coming, I brought it along with me. You can see how it's rigged and all that. The second thing is Acha. When I got my ATT in May, I bought Acha. I had used Acha before in 2023. I liked it. I had used UWord as well, but I didn't like UWord. UWord is too wordy for me. Having written the NCLEX exams, I would say UWord is too wordy. The NCLEX exams is just one sentence. UWord contains too many things. Some people say they like it for the rationals, but I don't like anything about UWord. If it works for you, great. I'm not someone who's going to push something down your throat. Whatever works for you, because this NCLEX thing is whatever works for you. The questions to actually is tailored to you. It's not what you're getting, is not what the next person is getting. So whatever works for you. But I bought Acha for 6 months. It expires in November, and today is 6th of November. I think it expired 10th of November or something. I was using UWord for 6 months, and the first 2 months I wasn't seeing top. This time I got just Q banks. I didn't get the whole package, but in 2023 I got the whole package, the videos, the cheat sheets. I saved the cheat sheets on my laptop. The videos didn't do anything to me, so I didn't have to buy the videos again. So I only bought the Q bank. When I did the first assessment, I failed, and I did the first assessment because I wanted to know my weakness so I could go into this to study more. And after that, I was not doing worse. Either I am average, below average of my peers, or a little bit above my peers. I wasn't doing well. I could call my mom and call my friends and be like, I'm not doing well, I'm scared. Guys, your feelings are valid at this moment. Even people who schooled here are failing, so it's fine. It's fine if you're not seeing top during your studies. Then I'm just saying, just chill, okay? Chill. Don't worry. It will make sense. Whilst I was struggling with the Acha, I spoke to a friend of mine. She is the PNO for Florida Regional Hospital. People who are older than me are my friends. But she introduced me to bootcamp, and God knows how much I love bootcamp. Bootcamp was a game changer. Bootcamp is what changed my studying. For a visual learner, bootcamp was it. All the people I have put on bootcamp came back with good news. Everybody, even she herself, she said everybody who she put on bootcamp, so she suggested Acha and bootcamp. I told her I've already subscribed to Acha, but I wasn't seeing top, and she said okay, then I should add bootcamp, because that's what she did. And everybody she put on the bootcamp came back successful. And I'm not saying bootcamp is the savior. No, this is not sponsored. I wish they did, because of course we need the money, but this is not sponsored. Case study, bootcamp is based on case study. I got 6 case studies in the exams out of 85 questions. My question was 85. Total time I spent was 2 hours. And you know, each case study is 6 questions. So 36 of the 85 questions were case study, and then the rest were just multiple choice and select all that apply. After every question on case study in bootcamp, there's a video that takes you through why this answer is the answer. They have a free version you can use. I would say the NCLEX looks like Acha, the single wording Acha, and sometimes bootcamp. I would say that NCLEX is 50% content and 50% strategy. Whoever tells you don't really need content is a liar. I found that most of my questions were easy because I knew content. Yes, there are some I've never heard about them before. 90% of the time is because I knew content. That is why I was able to answer those questions, and I knew strategies as well. If you know how to pick the right answer, or even know how to answer questions, you'll get it right. And what I used for strategy and prioritizing was NCLEX Crusade. Just go watch it. 7-day. I used it to just understand how to go about breaking down questions. The next thing I used was Registered Nurse RN. We all know Registered Nurse RN and Simple Nursing. Those two on YouTube. When Acha is stressing me out, I'm not understanding what I wrote, or when I go back to the textbook, I'm not understanding it. I just go and watch Registered Nurse RN or Simple Nursing video. Just a simplified, colorful something to get me going. And the next thing I use is Clinic Review. So Clinic Review, I use her for prioritization. She is part of my K agency. Like, she has a YouTube channel where she takes you through the questions. She's good. I learned a whole bunch of things from her. I say something, I wrote those strategies down. I went through those strategies before going to the exam hall. the almighty Mackay. People say it works for them, some people say it doesn't, but Mackay helped me understand the basics. Then lastly, beautiful nursing. That's this one video called the 1 hour English review. I watched it 1 hour to writing the exams. Her video is quite helpful. When I was going to the exams hall, the only two things I listened to was her video, beautiful nursing, and then Mackay's prioritization of audio. Yeah, those are the things I used to study. I'm not saying you should use the exact same thing, but that has helped me. Whichever one that works for you, go with it. Now let's talk about the tips or advice I have gathered so far over these 3 years while trying to write this exam. So yeah, if nothing at all, I've learned things during this process. The first is take time. Take time in between this whole registration thing. You might just never know what will happen when you decide to register for the board or register for the organization, ERES or CGFNS. Do not rush to go and register for something else. Make sure every document is gone before you go to the next step. I know some people who use just 2 months or 3 months to do this whole registration process and with the exams. There are people like that, but I'm just saying that you may or may not be that kind of people. Do you get what I'm saying? So just take time at every step. Yes, you might have the money, but take it one at a time. Be patient. Things happen. Things can happen in between. You know how it is in Africa, especially in Ghana. I'm talking to my Ghanaian people. You know how it is. Your school, you call them, please send my documents. You are picking 1 month, they've not sent it. You and I, we all know, we all know how it feels. So just be patient, just swallow the bullshit. It will pass. The next I would say is, before you even start anything, clear yourself, get that clearance, because that clearance is one of the huge delay in the whole process of English. That clearance in, I think, NMC 3 months thing. The next is to know your state. You can't just start a process without knowing the states, because the states will show you what you actually need and how long you have. Texas gave me 1 year. Illinois gave me 3 years for their requirements, if you have to write IELTS or not, if you have to write an exams or not for them, like Texas. I'm talking for Texas and Illinois because those are the only two I use. The next point, be proactive, because if you are registered with a board like Illinois, you will just be waiting a whole year and you've not heard anything from them. Unlike Texas Board of Nursing, where they have a dashboard and everything is there, so once you are done with a process, it takes. That is not for Illinois. Illinois doesn't have that, because they won't tell you anything that do this, do that. They don't even email you, so you might as well just be proactive. Illinois didn't email me one bit. When they received my ERES reports, they didn't email me. It was ERES that emailed me. When they received my background check, they didn't email me. When I registered with PSN View, they didn't even email me. Nothing. Do you get what I'm saying? They're very chill. For studying, be selective with the learning material. There are so many different materials out there. Figure out what works for you and go with it. Don't let peer pressure like, oh, this is working for me, so you want to use this. No. And I know it's expensive, so you can't just be hopping and trying on all that. If you can get someone's free account to use, like me, when I was done with my HR, I gave it out to my friends. Like, I was just sharing the password anyhow. So if you go to Telegram, you will get so many materials. All the materials I got, my K, standards, almost all, I got it from Telegram. So might as well just go to Telegram and then, if you are good with groups, learn in groups. If you're not good in groups, don't let anybody peer pressure you. In the first part of my studies, my friend wanted us to study together because she said if I'm with her, she'll be able to be on her toes to study. But I realized that it was draining me. I'm not good at studying in group. I can't study with somebody. Yeah, she was benefiting, but I wasn't benefiting. So I told her, no, that's it. I'm done. And I studied on my bed. I can't even study at the desk. This desk I'm talking to you right now, I can't study because the moment I sit by the desk to study, I start feeling sleepy. Yes, I also get sleepy on my bed, but then I'm very productive on my bed. So the 6 weeks that I logged in, it was all on that bed. I studied for 4 hours, wake up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m., pray. 6, I start answering questions. I pause, eat, watch my drama, watch my thriller, 3+ hours, go back to studying. And don't bury yourself too much in studying. You have to do something. Something is watching movies. The last I would say is know your basics. Why are you a nurse if you don't know your basics? You should know the basic fundamental things. So like, that's the first thing. Finally, this part of the video is for anyone who is a midwife, adult nurse, pediatric nurse, psychiatric nurse, or whatever nurse you are that you do not meet the CGFNS now true merit criteria or eligibility. What I can tell you is there are different types of evaluating bodies. We have the Josephson, we have ERES, which is what I used, and we have CGFNS. Back then, midwives used CGFNS because we thought that was the only organization that does the evaluation for us, and a lot of people got bounced that they are not eligible. They are lacking in some courses. That is when people found ERES, Josephson. I would say moving forward with what is going on concerning this whole visa screening process, choose CGFNS. Get me out. What I'm saying is I've said. But do you really want to go to ERES, write the NCLEX, but cannot do visa screening? because the only company that does visa screening for you is now telling most of midwives that you are not eligible, and now you have to go back to nursing school, write licensure again. What I can tell you is use True Merit CGFNS. Let them tell you you are not eligible. If they tell you you are not eligible, they will by all means tell you you are lacking something. They will list those courses for you. Weigh the option of taking those courses online and going to nursing training, or maybe nursing school, doing your bachelor's or something in nursing. Weigh those two options. If it is worth going to nursing school, doing your bachelor's again in nursing for 3 years, writing licensure, and maybe, I'm not sure, doing rotation, or just using 6 months or 1 year to do online courses specifically related to what you are lacking. Do the practicals at your workplace because you're already a nurse. That is why you want to provide the English, right? Let your DDNS or in charge or supervisor write a letter saying that this and this is the hours you've completed, this is what you did, with a letterhead. Send that to CGFNS. After you've completed the online course, you send your transcript to CGFNS. I feel like that is way easier than having to waste 3 years in nursing training, because God knows we all did nursing. That whole 1.5 years of our midwifery journey, we did nursing. Clinicals, the whole school time, external clinicals, internal clinicals, we did nursing. So what do you mean I'm not eligible to work as a nurse? If I was in your shoes, for those who haven't started evaluation yet and they are yet to start, they're thinking, how do I start? I would just advise you, go to CGFNS, let them bounce it, let them tell you what you're liking, take those courses online. And one thing I love about America, everything is possible in this country. Yes, you could just do those courses. There are schools, I would be sharing those schools with you, the schools you could reach out to that would do those courses for you easy, so you don't have to stress with this whole visa screening thing. Because I know quite a number of midwives who are actually going through it. They have their NCLEX, they passed, but they have to do visa screening, and Joseph Sini is telling them, but for those who already have the recent NCLEX, so you've passed and you're doing the visa screening, if they tell you you are not eligible, let them tell you the courses you are lacking. Take those courses, send those courses back to them. You will have your visa screening. That's all I can tell you. All right, thank you for staying tuned. I know it's a long video, but don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share. All right, bye.